What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's tier list making time. Let's get into it, shall we? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Ramblin' Man discussion video, where today we are going to be doing another tier list. I've done a couple of these before, and I thoroughly enjoy doing these, discussing these. I'm gonna try and keep this one as short as possible, but it's a big list, so we'll see. But before we get into that, if you don't know already, my name is William. I am the Ramblin' Man. If you like what you're seeing here, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps out the YouTube algorithm, making my channel more discoverable, and thereby getting out to a wider audience. So a like would be greatly appreciated. And if you're feeling so froggy, you can also share with others that you think might enjoy this content, as well as maybe subscribe. All right. And if you want that more personal experience, I do stream every Tuesday and Saturday after 4 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. Link for that will be in the description box below. And link for this site will also be in the description box below, so check that out, as well as all my other social medias. So with that out of the way, let's hop into today's video. Today, we are going to be doing a tier making list called the Ultimate Horror Movie List. So, did not make this list, so we're going to use the category. We're going to use these categories. I think I took out one category because I thought there was one too many. But yeah, we're going to do this. So let's check it out. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I am a big horror movie fan, whether it's, BC movies that make you laugh, or, the top tier horror movies that make you, okay, I don't want to go to sleep tonight. I love horror movies. I haven't watched any in quite some time, but I do love watching them. So let's get into it. So as you can see here, our categories here are top tiers. S tier means really effing good. A will be for those movies that are, so for me, this tier was going to be, iconic, best of the best, like just makes your skin crawl type creepy horror movie. And then they get progressively worse the further you go down. All right. So without further ado, let's get into. All right. So American Psycho, right off the bat. I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've seen clips of it here and there, but I've never seen the full thing all the way through. What I have seen of the clips and all that, I love Christian Bale's character in it. I would, but I've never gotten around to seeing it, so I've got to put it in the never seen it. Wrong Turn. I saw this once a long time ago, and I don't really remember it. For me, I think I actually enjoyed watching it for the most part. There was, I don't know, I have to see it again, but for now, I'm going to put it in below average just because it was forgettable the first time. I don't remember much about it. The Witch, I've never seen. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 3D. I believe this is the new one. So what we're going to do is we are going... Nope, it's not going to go in. We're going to put it into the average category, simply because it's good, but it's not... It's not forgettable, but it's just kind of meh. Yeah, that's where I sit on that one. 28 Days Later. I've never seen it. I started to watch it one time and I either passed out or because I was in the military at the time and I was just so tired. But yeah, I've never seen it. It's another movie I want to get around to watching, but all right, so Alien 3. Alien 3 is going to be Nope, it's not going below average. This one's going to go in above average, simply because it's an alien movie. It's good. Got Sigourney Weaver. It's a little more forgettable than the others, but it's an alien movie, so I cannot. It ticks all the boxes. I mean, it's got the xenomorphs. It's got, the horror elements, but because it goes in above average because it is, a horror movie above any of the others, it would be in these categories down here. But it's not a cut above the rest where I want to put it in the greatest. That's not happening. So it's above average horror movie. Alien. Top tier. I mean, it's the OG. It's the one that started it all. It's really fucking good. Go watch it. I believe this was made in early 80s? Not really sure. 1979. So, not bad for a 70s movie. It's garnered a cult following after 30 some years. So yeah, that's going into the really good category. Love it. Alien Resurrection. Don't hate me. Below average. Actually, I'm going to put it on average. Because it is an alien film. It does bring back Sigourney Weaver. It didn't have that X factor that the others had. So it didn't have that thrill factor. It didn't have that. I don't know. And it also seemed like the story was kind of lacking too. So just like it was made to be a cookie cutter summer flick. So for me, it's kind of subpar to the rest of them. And you killed off Newt. Sorry. A Nightmare on Elm Street. What can I say? You go into the classics go into the S tier for the most part, generally speaking. And Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic. It defined a genre. It changed a genre. It went that it's one of the films that took, horror movies from like B movie, like indie stuff to like mainstream, like holy crap, this can make money stuff. So that, and not to mention the story is really good. It's got Johnny Depp. It's got Robert Englund. I can't remember who played Nancy, but can never remember her name. Anyway, good movie and great ending. One of the best like cliffhanger endings of any movie. All right, let's go here. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Average. It's so average, I don't really remember what it was all about. But it's still a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The new Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to be putting this in the above average. For remakes, this was definitely kept the spirit of the original. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie. There was a lot of times where I remember, watching this for the first time and then watching the original Nightmare for the first time, and there was a lot of parallels for me emotion wise and just enjoying the ride wise. So I thought it was really good. It wasn't executed perfectly, and there were some missteps in the story, there were some missteps in character, but overall I thought it was an above average remake. Let's see here. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Don't hate me for this one. I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It's not a classic, but it's a cut above the rest. I mean, Dreamwalkers is a great movie. I love the idea of them getting together and taking it back to Freddy. That entire movie was fantastic to me. Yes, there were some character issues. Maybe not issues, but just like you could debate characters and story with this one, but it's just an overall fun ride. Okay, so Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Hunter, going in the average category. Actually, no, that was going below average because honestly, I don't remember much about it. Same with 5. Bride of Chucky, never seen it. Child's Play 2. That's an above average movie. I mean, because it keeps the spirit of the original, but it just doesn't quite meet that hype. The Conjuring 2. Above average. Nothing more I can say on that one. It's not as bad as it doesn't have some of the bad and the problems and the unmemorability of the. Actually, wait a second. I don't even know if I've seen The Conjuring 2. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put this one down here in unseen because I'm not sure if I've seen that one. I know I've seen this one, and The Conjuring is actually one of the greatest modern horror movies. It nowhere belongs in the S iconic tier. Really freaking good, but it's a good movie. It's a great movie. A great horror movie. Cult of Chucky, never seen it. Curse of Chucky, never seen it. Yeah, the Chuckies tend to get progressively worse after like the first 3, in my opinion. I just after the first 3, I was done. The Evil Dead 2. It's a really great movie. Even though it's pretty much a rehash of the first one, it's still really great because it adds in the humor that some of the humor that should have been in there in the first one. But it kind of turns it from, straight up horror to like horror comedy a little bit. So it makes Ash the character he should have been from the beginning. So I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead franchise. Speaking of which, Evil Dead. Also, no, you don't belong there. You belong up here. So actually, these two are going above these other two. And the Evil Dead goes above the Evil Dead 2. Not because, number wise, but because I truly believe that the original Evil Dead is just a little bit better than the Evil Dead 2. The Exorcist. Yep, classic, really freaking good. Really freaking good. You know what? We're gonna change this to. Yep, that's what we're changing it to. We're changing it to an icon of horror level. So yeah, these are iconic movies of horror. But yeah, The Exorcist. It's the horror psychological thriller that all horror movies that came after it aspired to be. This movie literally made a blueprint that other horror directors and writers emulated to follow. So for that reason, and it's still a really good movie. To this day, it holds up well. For the most part. Alright, so the Final Destination movies are going to go into the above average category. Simply because they are great, they're great overall stories as far as from one to the final one, it comes complete full circle, in my opinion. And they're just great rides. I mean, some of them got kind of cookie cutter at times, but if you followed the overall story, like I did, you can appreciate what they were trying to go for. So yeah, this is definitely, they're above average. They're not, anywhere near like the greatest movies of all time, but they are definitely good watches, fun rides, and definitely some good character and story in there for everybody. Let's see here. The Fly 2 I've actually never seen, but the original Fly I have seen, and I will definitely put that in an icon of horror, because that's another movie that quote unquote redefined the genre. Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis. The first time I watched this movie, the practical effects creep me out. It's one of those movies where I was just like this, but then again, I was like a teenager when I saw it. So. But yeah, it's a good movie. Really great icon of horror movie. Friday the 13th, the original, the OG, the one that started it all. Was there any doubt I was going to put in anything other than an icon of horror? This is the movie that made horror cool, in my opinion. This is the movie that, not unlike Friday the 13th, it changed the way people looked at horror for its time. I think Nightmare on Elm Street was in the 80s, like the early 80s, and then Friday the 13th was like in the mid 70s. So it was one of those, because when you watch it even today, you can still feel the kind of B horror campiness to it, with how it's film. The kills are filmed from the killer's perspective, but it just has this tone of like seriousness and this tone of like, oh shit, this is real, like edge of your seat type shit. That's why I love this movie, and the fact that it's not Jason who's the killer. Everyone forgets that Jason was not the killer in the first movie. It was his mom. So that's why I love it. Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. It's an average horror movie. I mean, it's got all the... It's got all the... It ticks all the boxes for horror. It ticks all the boxes for being a Friday the 13th movie. It's just, it lacks... It's what happens to movies when when studios get a hold of franchises, even back then, and they just want to milk it for everything it's worth. And that was the problem here, in my opinion. But it's still a good, an average horror movie. Friday the 13th Part 2. Nope, you're not going up there. Goes up here. And it is most definitely in an icon of horror, because these two to me go together. I mean, this one introduces Jason as the killer. It just, to me, this is like one long movie, because when I watch this one, I have to watch this one. This is one long movie for me. But that's why it's in the icon of horror here. All right, Friday the 13th Part 3. What is that? Friday the 13th Part 3. is on par with the first three. It's just not on that level of iconic. It's part of the trilogy, but to me, it's just a little bit not as great as the first two. Friday the 13th, final chapter. Average. So average, I really don't remember much of it. I do remember watching it, but it's just, I don't remember. Fright Night, again, a movie I've never really seen. I may have seen it when I was like really younger, but I don't recall. So I'm just gonna put in, I haven't seen it. The Grudge 2. Actually, I've never seen it. Hellbound Hellraiser. Probably one of the greatest horror movies of all time. The first three of the Hellraiser series are probably the best, some of the best horror movies you'll ever watch. They're just psychological horror, which is what I like. Hellraiser 4. I've actually never seen it. I kind of want to put it in garbage without having seen it, but I'm just going to put it never seen it. Hellraiser 3. Again, the first three are probably the best in the series. Hellraiser Inferno, never seen it. Hills Have Eyes 2, seen it. Now, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I remember seeing this when it was out, not in theaters, but after it came out on VHS or DVD. And to me, it's one of the greatest horror movies. And to me, it's actually more of a thriller than a horror movie, but well, actually, it's more of a slasher, but now we're getting into subgenre nitpicking, but whatever. But to me, it was never on that level of iconic horror, iconic, characters, of iconic killers, because the killer really, it's more focused on the group than it is the killer in this movie. I mean, there was parts when I was watching, I was like, what's the killer look like again? Because we never really see him until like the end. All right, Insidious Chapter 2. Nope, I have seen that. We're going to go above average. I don't think I've seen Insidious Chapter 3 yet. Insidious. Oh, no. We go here. Insidious, the original, is going to go. It's probably one of the greatest movies because the way it leaves you, the way it left me, the way it was all around a good ride. I loved it. Fantastic movie. Just the way it lures you in and then picks up the pace and then slows down a little bit, and then just what psychological horror should do, make you question everything. I love it. It just gets in your head and stays there. I've actually never seen Leatherface. Leprechaun 2. Okay, so the Leprechaun movies are actually going, they're so bad or good. Category. All but the OG Leprechaun. The OG Leprechaun is gonna go into a average category. Now you might think I want to try and put this up in the iconic horror category simply because it's an iconic horror character, but I don't know, man. The character to me was more of a comedic sidekick than an actual horror villain, so that's why it's going in the average category. Wait a minute. Yeah. Leprechaun 3. Leprechaun. Okay. Paranormal Activity, the marked one. Yeah, I have not seen that one. I was trying to get it confused with this other one. So, Paranormal Activity movies, for me, are among some of the greatest horror movies simply because of the overarching story and how they connect to each other. In my opinion, it was done well, right? So Paranormal Activity 1 is probably actually not the greatest. So Paranormal Activity actually belongs in the iconic territory. Now you get 2, 3, 4, and Ghost Dimension. In that order. I mean, because to get how great they are, you must view them in order, and you must take in everything because they are a fantastically told story over 5 films. Were there some missteps? Sure. Was there some cookie cutter to it? Was there some like studio popcorn intentions? Of course. But overall, the writers made the story coherent-ish. And to me, it ticks all the right boxes for psychological thriller, for psychological horror, and I just enjoyed watching these. I enjoyed getting creeped out by these sometimes. So that's why these are going into where the tiers are going. Alright, so this Prometheus. Prometheus is, for a horror movie, above average. I mean, it's not really the greatest. I mean, it doesn't belong in the greatest because for me, it's an incomplete story. It needs more. So, but it expands the Ridleyverse. It expands the Alienverse. It gives you a little bit more from that. But there's a lot of things that could have been done better. And I think there's a lot of things that could be expounded upon in follow-up movies that I don't think have been touched on. Or maybe have been completely abandoned. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed watching it. It made me want more. So that's why it goes in the above average. The Ring 2. Absolute garbage. No, I'm just kidding. I've actually never seen it because I watched The Ring 1 and I was like, why is there a need for a Ring 2? So I decided to not watch it. The Saw franchise. The first 3 are absolute icons of horror simply because they're a coherent trilogy story. After that, they're still pretty good, and the rest of them are going to get put into the above average category. You'll find my tick is I love overarching stories. If I can detect a hint of overarching story, even though that may not have been the original intention, it'll be good with me. So the Saw movies are actually going into... The first 3 are going into the icons of horror, and the other ones are actually going into greatest. Simply because of their overarching story. They continue the hack and slash of the originals. There was some missteps in the story sometimes, but overall, I liked it. I like the stories that they told. The Scream franchise. Let's see here. So, Scream 4 was absolute garbage. Scream 3 was an above average ending to a franchise. What we thought at the time was the ending of a franchise. And the original Scream is absolutely iconic. It brought horror into the modern era, in my opinion. It reaffirmed the fact that horror was still cool. Seed of Chucky, never seen. Sinister, oh my god, that movie creeped me out. one of the greatest movies, one of the greatest horror movies of the modern era. Wait, no, is that the sequel? Sinister 2. Okay, so Sinister 2 I actually have not seen. But the original Sinister I have. Nope. Never seen that one either. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh my god. Absolute classic. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is above average. Probably one of the greatest remakes. It's actually on par with actually no, it belongs down here above average because I put it on par with the original Nightmare on Elm Street, or not the original, the remake, because I thought these were both done pretty well. See here, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can't even tell which one that is. I don't think I've seen that one. Grudge 3, haven't seen. The Grudge, garbage in my opinion. The Hills Have Eyes, average. Actually, no, I'll put that in the above average category. The Ring is above average. No, we'll go average. The Shining is a classic. As a matter of fact, that goes right here. These two are icon because I think this is the original and this is the one. This is the one I believe with Matthew McConaughey. I think, I'm not sure. But for that reason, I'm actually moving this one down to above average. A New Nightmare. One of the greatest horror movies and one of the greatest retellings of a story. It's a pretty fantastic sequel. I mean, it makes fun of the meta and it's fun. It's a fun time. I love the way it brings Freddy into our world and makes him a possible threat to us, and just changes that gear in your mind like, oh shit, maybe he is real. That's why I love that movie and why it's one of the greatest movies. Although it did get some hate at the time. The original Final Destination goes up here. Simply because it started off the franchise. Hostel 2. They're average horror movies with no real story. 13 Ghosts, oh my god. Iconic. Hands down. I love that movie. I wish that movie would have got like a sequel or some sort of, maybe a series. That movie is fantastic. Yeah, it's campy. Yeah, it's cheesy at parts, but it has great casting. It has had great potential for a franchise, but just never, it didn't live up to the money hype that the studio was wanting. Devil's Rejects. Probably one of the greatest horror movies. Hack and slash. The Strangers, I've never seen. Train to Boston, never seen. Jeepers Creepers. An icon of horror. That movie creeps me out every time I watch it, just because of the ending. I don't even know what is this. Oh, Covenant. That's what it is. Okay. I don't think I've seen that. Oh yeah, this is Aliens. Definitely goes in the greatest category. Absolutely. And actually, I'm very tempted to throw in the icon of horror because it's such between the first one and the second one. Those two have iconic lines and iconic. You know what? Yep, it's going in the iconic one. It's going right below Alien. Get away from her, you bitch. Love that. Such an iconic movie. Never seen it. Annabelle comes home. Annabelle Creation, never seen it. Annabelle, I've actually seen it and I thought it was above average. Darkness. That movie is such an iconic horror movie. And it's not, see, part of me doesn't want to put it up here just because it's not truly a horror movie. It's more like a comedy thriller type movie, but it's always been, you know, part of the horror movie fan base, the horror cons and all that. I'm not, who am I to argue? So, but for me, that's the movie that started me loving the Evil Dead franchise. That's the movie I originally started with. So, and I freaking love that movie. So I haven't seen the new Blair Witch. Child's Play. The original Child's Play is going, you guessed it, icon of horror. Absolutely an iconic film. And actually, Army of Darkness, I will put down here above Paranormal Activity. All right. Wow. Still got a bunch of them. All right. So Child's Play 3 is going to go, no, is going to go on the same tier as Child's Play 2. So because I equate those two together. I mean, both of them are really great, but they're not as great as the original. It's going to be a common theme running throughout. And they're above average. Not great, but they're not horrible. They're above average. They're memorable, they're fun, but they don't have that extra oomph to get them up into the two great tiers. So, all right, what do we got here? Is that the original Child's Play? See, that's why I can't stand some of these, because you can't really tell. Okay, apparently both of those are Child's Play. So, all right, we'll roll with that. Urban Legends. Garbage. No. I'm gonna go below average. Wasn't exactly garbage. It had the horror elements, but it just was not memorable at all. Dr. Sleep, never seen it. Freddy's Dead, below average. I hate to put Nightmare on Elm Street below average, but I gotta admit, it was forgettable. Freddy vs. Jason is Actually, you know what? Honestly, that movie is so bad it's good. The new Friday the 13th is actually above average. Not as it. This one, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Nightmare on Elm Street are all remakes, and you know they're never going to be as great as the originals, but they did do some things right. They did bring them to the modern time, and they did, make it interesting and make me actually enjoy watching it. So that's why they're in a cut above the rest, above average. Friday the 13th. What is that? Is that part 6? So, yeah, that's part 6. So, Jason Takes Manhattan is actually going to go in above average, simply because it was the movie. It was actually the movie that introduced me to the Friday the 13th franchise. I actually started as a kid watching part 8, and that movie held my attention and creeped me out at the same time. So that's why it's going in the above average for me. Let's see here. I think 6 and 7 should go into below average, simply because they were forgettable too. They were that forgettable for me. The Halloween movies. Halloween is actually an iconic movie. And actually, Rob Zombie's Halloween, I've never seen. I've never seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 either. Never seen that one, I don't think, either. Actually, I don't think I've seen any of these. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of these. I gotta catch up on my horror movies. H2O was absolute fucking garbage. I refuse to acknowledge that film as a Halloween film. Yeah, I've never seen that one either. All right. Halloween 3, never seen it. Another one that's absolute fucking garbage. I've never seen that one. The New Evil Dead. Okay. So the New Evil Dead for me was actually probably one of the greatest modern horror movies ever made. As far as I've seen, because it took the core of what was there. It took the core story, and they essentially did what Sam Raimi did in the very first movie. They just went out and made a blood-gushing horror movie. And that's the spirit of what Evil Dead originally was. Now, it kept me intrigued. I loved it. There was a lot of stuff that they could have done a lot better. There was a lot of stuff they could have included, some stuff they could have excluded, but at the same time, it was a fantastic horror movie. If this had been named anything else but Evil Dead, I might have put this in the iconic stature, in the iconic tier. But because it's Evil Dead, it just doesn't have that connection to the Evil Dead universe outside of mentioning the Necronomicon and, the teaser in the credits of Ash. So outside of that, it's still probably one of the greatest horror movies, modern horror movies ever made. Insidious, I haven't seen that one. All right. It I love. Actually, correction. I mean, I don't love it, but it is one of those movies that is absolutely probably probably one of the only remakes. One of the few remakes I'm going to put in the greatest category, because it does have the suspense, the horror, the edge of your seat suck you in that the original did. Even though in the original, what I can't remember the clown's name right off the top of my head, but the clown was not supposed to be, you know, a monster or scary, overtly scary monster. He was supposed to be this, you know, welcoming looking, creepy, but not monstrous, clown that lured kids to their deaths. That's the only issue I had with this one. But there were certain parts where you could see the lure for kids, so I'll give it a pass. But overall, I thought it was pretty well done. And I actually haven't seen the final chapter, so I'm gonna put it here. Jason Goes to Hell. So good it's bad. So bad it's good, I mean. Oh God. So Jason X. The only part about this movie that I freaking love is Jason. I love the Jason, you know, terrorizing the spaceship. I love, you know, just seeing Jason on a board of spaceship just hunting people down. But at the same, and I love the new look of Jason, the modernized look of Jason towards the end, but you only get to see him that way for like 5 or 6 seconds. Or maybe not. Okay, maybe it's not that short, but you know, like for like the last 2-3 minutes of the movie before he's killed. But I was hoping that they would go away from the hockey mask and keep that metal mask in future movies, but apparently that was the last one within that timeline. So, but I will say this. The good points of the movie were Jason's new look, Jason himself, and Alexa Doik. And the hell's her name? Girl that played Becca Valentine on Andromeda. Lisa Rader. Those are the only good parts of that movie. So for that reason, garbage movie. It's a fun ride, but it's still a garbage movie. Jeepers Creepers 2, actually never seen it. And I don't think I've seen that one. Never seen Cabin Fever. Never seen 28 Weeks Later. Never seen that. It Follows. This movie, I was left wondering why. Just why. You know, why would you? I mean, I got it, but it was like, it wasn't really horror. It was barely creepy. It was more of a like trying to be psychological thriller, but kind of failed. I mean, did I miss something? I got to put this in the garbage category. It wasn't nothing to write home about. I was not impressed with it at all. I think this is the original Hellraiser, which goes into the iconic category, of course. The Thing, I want to put it in iconic, but I've never seen it, so I've got to go never seen it. Silence of the Lambs. You guys can guess where this is going. Actually, we're both wrong. I'm going to put this in probably one of the greatest movies ever made. It for horror, for a horror franchise, for horror. Silence of the Lambs, it was never horror to me. It was always psychological thriller, which to me is a totally different movie mindset, movie enjoyment than a horror movie. So for that reason, I cannot put it in the icon of horror tier, but it's still a great movie. I've never seen Heredity. The original It. Can we guess? Can we guess? Yeah, it's going into the icon. No other words needed. It's an iconic movie. Hey, if the movie gets a remake, chances are it's iconic, or it was bad the first time. But either way, my opinion, the original It is an icon of horror. Never seen it. Never seen it. The original Hostel. again, an average hack and slash. Now, this is one that's probably won't get me some hate. But 1408, probably one of the greatest horror movies, psychological horror movies made in recent memory. Probably, I would put this in the past 15 years. I would put this as probably top 10 in my favorite horror movies. It's such a good psychological horror movie. I love it. You got Samuel L. Jackson, John Cusack. I've always loved John Cusack. I just love the movie. Quarantine. So it's an above average movie. I've seen it like once or twice. I remember bits and pieces of it, but it's not one of the greatest, and it damn sure is not iconic. It doesn't take that extra step to be iconic or great. Oh, The Last House on the Left. I think this is the new one. And I'm putting it in below average because it really wasn't a horror movie. It was more like, again, a thriller, and a bad thriller at that. Wishmaster. The original is an icon. Hands down. What's his name? Can never remember the dude's name. Andrew Divoff, who played that character, was absolutely fantastic. That's the movie that made me fall in love with that actor. I loved him, and then everything else he came. I was like, hey, look, it's that guy. It's the Wishmaster. But yes, I love that. I love that movie, and it is an icon of horror. Ghost Ship, above average. Not great, but not average or below average. It's a fun ride. Gothica, never seen. Dawn of the Dead, never seen. House of Wax, absolute garbage. Land of the Dead, above average. Cabin in the Woods, never seen. Never seen that one, I don't think. Scream 2 is actually... Where'd I put the other Scream? Now I gotta find the other ones. Yeah, Scream 2 was a great sequel, so it's going in the one of the greatest categories because it's not quite on par with the original, but it's still greatest. Okay, I've never seen that one. I want to see that one. The Grudge, I don't think I've seen that one. The Nun. Was above average. I mean, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I mean, it gave me some jumps, some chills, but it just wasn't on par with some of these other ones. I'm sorry, I can't put it in the same categories as some of these others. So, Candyman, iconic. I have never seen Truth or Dare, and Drag Me to Hell. I will say is actually I've never seen it all the way through, so I gotta put it in never seen it because I've seen like the last like 15-20 minutes of it because a friend was watching it at their place one day, and I kind of caught the last of it. So, but yeah. There you have it. That's my tiers. What do y'all think? You agree with me? Disagree with me? Let me know what you think. I know some of you are going to disagree vehemently, and some of you may agree. Who knows? But that's what the comment section below is for. Let's have a conversation. But yeah, that's my ultimate horror movie tier listing. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, this is a very, very long video, please hit the like button and share this with others that you think might enjoy this content. And if you're feeling really froggy, maybe subscribe. If you're looking for more personal experience where we can chat about this or any other video one-on-one, please hit me up on Twitch. I stream every Tuesday and Saturday after 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link will be below, as well as the link for the page where I do these tier lists, as well as the links for all my socials. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is William. I am the Ramblin' Man. Peace, and have a good one, y'all.